Welcome back to the Morning Mindset. I want to thank you for taking the time to get your mind aligned with the truth of God, because that really is the only hope you have today for living a life that is one of goodness and benefit to those around you. It's by living according to God's truth. And that's why I've created the Morning Mindset. I want to encourage you in that every single day of the year. We're coming up on the end of the year today, and it's an amazing concept to me that another year has just flown by. And I encourage you, start telling friends about the Morning Mindset, because a lot of people like to start fresh at the new year, to have some new habits or disciplines that they put into their lives, and a 5-minute daily devotional may be something that would be beneficial to the people you know. So if you go to a Sunday school class, you have Bible studies, things like that, tell people about the Morning Mindset. You can send them to carriegreen.com/mm, or just show them how to find the podcast on their phone, on their app. Just ask them if you can show them, and take it, find their podcast player, and show them the Morning Mindset. I think you could help someone to get the same benefits you're receiving from the Morning Mindset every single day of the new year. Now let's move forward. We're in 1 Peter chapter 3. And we are just wrapping up the chapter, actually. And we've come through kind of some difficult passages to understand. But as you can see from the last few episodes, if we take our time and we walk through, the scripture usually makes itself pretty clear. Now, there's one exception here in the section that we read, in that it's still not totally clear exactly what Peter was meaning, because Peter speaks about something as if we understand it, which is only spoken about in this passage of the scriptures. So that can be difficult at times, but we're moving on because we don't want to spend a lot of time theorizing and trying to come up with meanings for something that is just a little confusing. It's one of those things where we need to trust God to understand it and to hang on to it and to take care of all the details of it, because it doesn't seem like a truth that really applies to us directly today, other than to encourage us to trust God. Now, if you're curious what all I'm talking about, you can go back in the last few episodes and you will understand better as you listen to those. Now, today, we want to look at verse number 22 of 1 Peter chapter 3. This is where Peter is explaining to us that when Jesus rose from the dead, he went into heaven and is now at the right hand of God. Now, if you don't know, the right hand of any king or monarch is considered to be the place of honor and authority. So it's like, that's where the phrase, the right-hand man, comes from. You know, he's my right-hand man. Well, that means he's right next to me in authority. And he is the one who is of great benefit to me. You see, Jesus now sits at the right hand of God after his resurrection, with angels, authorities, and powers having been subjected to him. That's what Peter says. It's a place of honor and rulership. It's a place from which Jesus rules as king of the universe. And this brings something to mind that Peter doesn't necessarily talk about right here, but it has been a point of confusion for me at times back in my earlier days of my Christian walk, and that is that we speak of Jesus as, in this case, being in heaven at the right hand of God. But then sometimes we or the scriptures speak of Jesus being inside of us, living in us. How can it be both? That's a very natural question for us to have. Well, some of the answer comes from understanding things from a spiritual perspective. Now, when I say that, I don't mean any less of a real perspective. I just mean that there's another dimension, a spiritual dimension that we don't see and we don't understand very well at times. And what happens on a spiritual level is that Jesus, being the Son of God, being God, can be everywhere at once. If you remember, God is omnipresent, meaning everywhere at once. And Jesus not only is at the right hand of God, ruling over everything, he's also inside of us. And my friends, that brings me great encouragement and great comfort to know the King of the universe is the one who gives me life and the one who guides me in my daily walk. I want you to go into the challenges of this day knowing the King of the universe is in you to help you today.